All right, friends, welcome back to a market review for the day. We will be going over the two trades and the two potential, or actually just the two trades that I had taken today. And I will after that I will answer some questions. And I think a lot of people are asking, we're asking how do I set those entries and whatnot. Um, so with that being said, let's go over that. So as for today, what was I watching? I was watching the high from Friday because that had never gotten taken out, right? We'll go back to Friday, mark the same high at that time to make it perfectly accurate by magnetizing it to that. Perfect. And then go back here, same high. Look at the crosshair, right? They line up. Boom. All right. So what was the play? At the open, I sized one lot on ES just because it was open. I know it's very volatile. So I sized light, right? Guess what happened? 618 wasn't awake watching the market, but I saw this at 632 and took that short at 632. So a lot of you guys were asking, oh, how do you get those fast, or how are you entering blah blah blah? Bro, I'm slapping market orders on NQ or ES, whether it's market buy or market sell. In this case, it's market sell, right? And then within 2 minutes, right? 632 uptick candle, immediately clicking everywhere. Immediately slap short right here. Stop loss, a couple of ticks above the high, right? And then target, I'm gonna be down here. And boom, target hit. Right. The rest, didn't really give a shit for, but that was the main trade for today. And then the next one that I was watching this one. Okay. I had wished it had happened because if it did, it would have led to shorting the indice, right? As it went down. But it didn't, unfortunately. After we had made that move back down, we were somewhere around here. And I wanted some sort of move back up to take out this high, right? The intraday high, and then potentially continue downward, right? But alas, we did not get that, and ES just plummeted, right? Because look, right around here, if you see the time frames kind of line up, is right here actually, right? NQ was not as strong, right? So during that same move, right here, we pushed up. I was really hoping for one of these, like this high to be taken, right? And then NQ not taking the high, or one of them not to be taken, right? Lo and behold, we ended up taking both of them. So, or we ended up not taking any of it. It's very unlucky, but it is what it is, right? I was hoping this high, and then it would have been this high, right? So I was hoping for one of them to be taken out. Once again, no SMT, no trade. Although step one bias is correct, right? Where you are short because we opened this, I believe this is 25, right? We're right at 25 at the open. Yeah, or 20, right? And then 5,200 was the DGEX target. So I was hoping we would get some form of SMT and target that. But first trade, once again, step one. Now this is the time to type in chat. Step one, what was it? Bias, right? Were we bullish or bearish today? I saw 5,200, so short. Perfect. Good answer. So I'm looking only for shorts. Until when? Until we get below 5,200, I don't care. I'm looking for shorts. When we are below 5,200, I will look for longs, right? Yes, I missed this entire drop. Guess what? Wasn't part of my plan. Either way, if I had held, right, let's say we go back to that one trade, right? If I had held that, it wouldn't have mattered because price target was here for the first contract. Let's say I even took multiple and I hit PT1, I would have been stopped at break even because guess what? After you hit PT1, the next step of the system is to move stops to break even on any of the runners. Would have been stopped out up here, right? So it didn't matter. So I didn't really give a shit that we dumped all that much. I just watched it. It is what it is. Next one. Same thing with, I think it was, I took a long on one of these right here. I want to say, yeah. Boom. Right here. Is it this low? No, it was this low. This low and this low. Right? Does that line up? Yeah, perfect. Yeah. These were the two lows. ES did not get swept, correct? Yeah, see that? ES no sweep, NQ sweep. So guess what? Immediately slam longs on NQ. I mean on ES, because ES got swept. So it got swept on this candle. I can even look back at what I got. Would you have placed the trade on NQ as soon as ES swept the high for timing? Do you just wait for a pullback, or I pulled the trigger immediately? I could care less, and then I immediately put my stop above or below the low or high. Just to keep it simple, so I don't miss it. So this trade, I can tell you exactly where I got in at. Let's see. 5224.5. So right about here, right? Look at that. It's not a bottom tick by any means, but once again, one tick below. And then we captured about 10 points. I targeted up here on this candle. Right here. So from 24.5 to 34.5, that was my trade right here. Does it really matter for the one long here? They both drive higher. Yes, and you'll see why later. So let's say in this case, is it this low? Okay. Let's use this as an example just because we're here. Right? It needs to be exact. So at what time did ES? Which one swept first? ES swept this at 728. So it's 728. Boom, boom. Okay, perfect. So at 728, ES swept the low. Right, 728, this candle. This would have been your stop. And then this would have been your target. At 728, we swept the low. 728. Right, wait, was that the sweeping candle? Yeah, this one right here. Where's your stop? Your target's up here. And even if you were to use that same percentage, 0.22%, right? This would have been your stop. If you match it. Look at the R to R. Does this make sense? If you utilize the same risk of 0.22% of the total account, right? Notice how they're both matching. You guys can see stop 11.75 points for 0.22%, stop for 39.75 on the left side for 0.22%. Look at the R to R difference. Number one, there's a big difference already off rip, right? You go from a 1.19 R on the right with ES, and then you have a 1.19 or 1.91 R on NQ. I'm taking the one that never swept it every single time. The R to R will always be better. Now, on top of that, when did NQ sweep it? NQ swept it at this time, 7:30. So 2 minutes later, right? You don't have a stop here. It's not defined. At least here it's defined. Yeah, it would have been a losing trade, but at least it's defined. Didn't want to take this. Why? Because it looked like it was going to fucking continue going. So I'm not stabbing it until, yeah, you could have, but usually I'd like to wait for like one candle, like one green candle showing signs of life. But anyway, beside the point. But yeah, I'm always taking the one that didn't sweep, guys. I don't give a shit. You guys can keep trying to ask me or tell me I should take NQ or take the other one, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm taking the one that didn't sweep every single time. You guys can figure out your own system, but that's just the one I created and it works. It works for me at least. So take it for what it is. That's just the way I do it at least. Right. So once again, that trade netted a 2.67 R. Pretty good, right? Was there a Gex level there to go long on that SMT? Yeah, this one, step one was still, once again, it's a system, right? Step one, what is ABS-D Gex saying? At this time, 837. You can even use raw at this point just for visual purposes. We'll add raw for because we don't have DGEX here. So let me find, what time is that? 8:35 a.m. Okay. Let me find 8:35 and I'll paste it on. 9:55, 8:35. Where is this bitch? Okay. 8:35. Copy image. Boom. What is the absolute gamma exposure here? 5,200 again. So I'm still looking long. DGEX was 5,200. Right? Same thing. So they both lined up. For me, perfect. I'm waiting to go long, or I'm looking for longs only until an SMT, right? No SMT, no trade. Did I miss this run up at the end of the day? Yes. Why? Because there's no SMT. I don't care. Wouldn't have been there. or wouldn't have been in the trade anyway, right? So I only am looking for trades as my entry is SMT. If there's no SMT, I will not take the trade. Flat out. Were you depending on 5,200 based off of the aggregate? No, I'm just going off of 0 DTE. Would you consider the same level to enter again? No, I wouldn't. No, I don't consider any fair value gaps in any of these trades. It's literally just the moment I see SMT, I'm slamming. No fair value gaps used. SMT, I don't know the acronym or what that acronym stands for, but it is essentially, if you haven't watched the video, go watch the video and then you can rewatch this recording. But those were the two trades. And yes, I was watching this looking for some form of SMT throughout the day, and it just didn't show up, right? Since it didn't show up, it is what it is, right? At the end of the day, it didn't show up. So what can you do, right? I was watching this low though, same low that got made here. I was hoping maybe one of them takes it out and the other one doesn't, but since it didn't, it is what it is, right? Same exact time, you can tell, and none of them got taken. Yeah, well, SMT is not a ICT acronym. Like I said in the very beginning, it was coined by some guy named Landon, and it was in the Wyckoff book, right? Who created SMT in trading? Oh, Gerald Hall. Wait, SMT. I don't know. There's something for it. Geo found it for me, images, and he sent it to me. But you can find it somewhere in one of his books. But yeah. Oh, smart money tool, smart money technique. It goes on. Cool. But yeah, SMT is just one of those things. But that's pretty much it. You can utilize it with other confluences. This is just a system I created, so it's, dummy proof. Anyone can use it. And it works, right? Once again, no SMT, no setup, no trade, right? Bias is 5,200, but didn't give an entry. So I sat there all day. But one of the accounts that I've opened up is at 100% win rate, which is nice. Just using it. I think it was on day one stats. Yeah. 9 trades, but they count. I don't know. I don't like how they do it because they count like trims as one trade. So if you have like 3 contracts, you trim 3 of them, it'll count. Or if you trim, yeah, let's say you trim 2 at one of them, that'll be one trade. You trim the last runner, that's another trade. So it counts like that. Can you define what makes absolute gex? Absolute gex is just the highest exposure on the call and put side. So for the SMT, it is only reversal. Yeah, it's only it's for bottom taking essentially, right? I am not. I've tried other methods of like entries. I don't like it because it's not a bottom tick, so it's kind of boring. Doesn't fit my style. Always look for bottom ticks. Thoughts for tomorrow, reselect CPI. I don't give a shit what happens with tomorrow because I didn't swing anything. I'll play the reactionary move. Is SMT with Gex levels your primary strategy in futures now? Yeah, it is. That's the only thing I've been trading. How do you pick and choose the low to mark? Like on this example, I just watch it for the very moment. It's not really like swing lows and swing highs, right? So swing lows. Well, technically it doesn't show that it got taken here, but like swing lows and swing highs, if you utilize the line chart, you can see it a little more prominently. So shit like this. Technically you have equal lows here, you have equal lows here, but still, but this is what I mean by like some of these lows. You can see market structure a lot easier with lines, oddly enough. For the SMT, it's just ESNQ. Yeah, I just use ESNQ. I don't know because it's to the tick base. It's like tick base, so it works well rather than SPY in QQQ. 5,200 is still the magnet for tomorrow. Thoughts on tomorrow and respect for CPI. Guys, I'm not answering thoughts for tomorrow. I don't know what's gonna happen. No one knows what's gonna happen. If you swung something and you're asking, good luck. But I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I think it's gonna go up. I think it's gonna go down. Because I have no fucking clue. Yeah, it's a great system for those who struggle with like creating or like finding entries and finding exits and struggling overall of like discipline wise. It's a great system because all you got to do is sit there and wait. You literally legit just sit there and wait until something happens. Fig works with SMT as well. I mean, yeah, you can draw like a fib line or a fib retrace and then be like, okay, now you just wait for some form of SMT to show up, right? So if it's like something like this, uh, let's get an example up. So path, fib here, same fib here. Let's say something like this. Get the pathing tool. Let's say we go down here, retrace a little bit, right? And then we finally get up to here. And then NQ takes the high. Boom. Right. So let's extend this a little bit. And we go here. So same thing, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, and then it doesn't take the high. Something like that could work, right? Because then you get that sweep right here. You don't get the sweep right here. Then you would short ES here on the right side since it didn't sweep. Short. Something like this, right? Stop above the high. And something looks, it would look something like that. Any videos or books for SMT? No idea. I just kind of picked it up off of watching or like talking to one of my friends. He's like, as he added it to his entry method. And I was like, SMT is gross because I went back and looked and I was like, what the hell? Every single trade has been SMT based, or like every single move, oddly enough, had some form of SMT that led to a reversal. So like you could do something like this and you could watch for it, whatever, right? You target these lows, you have your internal targets right here, you have your internal target right here. But you're always going with the D. Yeah, always looking for DGEX direction. Not really fibs, but I haven't been using fibs after finding this. It's just not necessary because now this is systematic and it's perfect. I've perfected my system, right? Simply put, it's repeatable. It forces you to be patient. It forces you to wait for confirmation, and it forces you to be disciplined, right? And it's repeatable. It works perfectly. It checks all four of those off the box. DGEX means delta adjusted, absolute delta adjusted GAM exposure. So ES sweeps, we trade SPX, NQ sweeps, we trade QQQ. No. It's whichever one doesn't sweep, you take that, right? If ES didn't sweep it, you go SPX or SPY. If QQQ or if NQ didn't sweep it, you go QQQ or NDX. Do you ignore old lessons with line and sand? No, not outdated. It's just easier this way, right? It takes out a lot of the noise. Like, yeah, there's certain points, but it's like I'll use those as like trim points, if that makes sense. Like, okay, I know that there's a positive wall here, then I'm gonna take one off, right? Then I won't target the internal, I'll just take off one of the positions. Right? That makes sense. Yeah, correlation is just whichever one. You can take SPY, SPX, QQQ. Have you backtested your strategy? If so, what's your estimated win rate? Thanks. Yeah, I've backtested it and I'm currently running it on this funded account as of right now. So you can see the day I started this one on Friday and it's just 100% so far. And once again, these trims says 3 trades today, but that's just because the amount of contracts. So far, 100%, 5,000 profit on this funded account. So it's work. That's a combine, not an actual funded one. So you're gonna see and use it as a post once if I can pass it with 100% win rate just using this exact strategy, why the heck would people not want to jump in on it more? How do you determine the high and low for this strat? It's just whichever one is like in the moment, right? Better ones are always going to be like external lows or like bigger time frame lows or highs. That makes sense. So like bigger time frame, like hourly, like something like this. Don't use this as an actual example because I'm pretty sure we swept it already. Yeah, ES swept that one. NQ swept this high as well. So something like this, right? And notice ES hasn't swept it. This isn't one trade that I would take because the system only applies when I'm during market open. So that's when I kind of look for it. That's dope. I watched videos from Desi that you recommended to me. Check out S&T was one of them. Yeah, Desi's great, bro. Desi is one of the best. If you want to learn any sort of ICT, like I would go to him. But yeah, I just think I don't my problem with ICT is I didn't know like the drawn liquidity, basically what if you don't have the drawn liquidity correctly, then everyone's going to be like, oh, blah blah blah, do this, do that, market goes up, market's going to go there. No one really fucking knows, right? At least with DGEX, it gives you a true bias for the or absolute DGEX. It at least gives you the bias for the day. But yeah, so I couldn't figure that out when looking at ICT. So if you look at the Twitter post, it was like me saying, do you struggle with finding the drawn liquidity or having a bias intraday if you've been learning ICT? And that was me. I struggled with it. So that's when I decided to just use the data. Oh, so this strat is good for market open. No, it's good for any time of day, so long as it shows 1 minute candles only. Yeah, I've only used it on the 1 minute. I don't really give a shit about any other time frame because I'm a scalper, right? I'm not gonna this system fits me, get a couple points, right? I'm a trader. I'm a day trader. I'm not here to capture the entire move because if I do, I might get bagged more often than not. So significantly away from ABS. Yeah. Like today was open was 52.25. We had a wall there, right? Positive wall. So I figured, and there were no pickups above. So my bias is to the downside, number one, right at 52.25. And we have absolute DGEX at 5,200. So it was a perfect area to start looking for shorts. I don't care if it's open. I don't care if it's midday is like you get a little bit of chop. I prefer not to take a midday. Usually just kind of been trading to like 8:30 and then fucking off and then coming back maybe like 10:30 to 11. Any more questions? Look, I want everybody to win, right? And a lot of the stuff is super complicated. So I spend a lot of time looking into something like a strategy that could be made simple for everybody, right? You just have to have the confidence to slap it. Will you be watching the CPI data? No, I don't give a shit. I'm waking up at like 6:20, brush my teeth, and get on my desk. Any other IC strategies implementing and testing out? Not as of right. No, fuck the unicorn. Useless. So much extra shit that goes into it that's just not necessary. Guys, you can spend all the time learning all this ICT stuff. It's the same thing. You can spend all the time learning all this DGEX stuff, but there's only and or like the that bro, this dog is just stuffing her nose on my cashmere shirt. Chill down. Can you relax? Stop it. Stop. Go. Sit. Good girl. Okay. But yeah. Bro, Alejandro made the best fucking GIF on planet Earth, bro. I don't know if anyone saw it, but let me find it. This right here, cooked. This GIF was too good. This GIF was way too good. And then he made this. Oh yeah. The Zen for a heart. Any more questions, guys? If there are no more questions, we can close it out early. Everyone can have a relaxing rest of your night. Thanks, MK. Everyone, all I have are the pictures with the mustache, bro. Are you focusing more on DGEX and Raw? Yeah. Now I'm focusing a lot more on DGEX. That's all. If like I'm focusing on split, right? If this would load, it'd be great. So pick tomorrow's data, maybe it loads. There we go. If split and absolute DGEX, or if absolute GEX and absolute DGEX both line up, then I will basically just, then it's perfect, right? So today they both lined up at 5,200. So all I'm looking for is open. What was the time of the last trade you marked again? That trade was at like 8:35. I think that was the low. Yeah, 8:35 NQ swept it. ES didn't sweep it. So the low was marked out at 8:12. Yeah, stop loss like this, right? Stop loss is very, very simple, guys. No need to overcomplicate it, right? Low was marked here. Low was marked here, right? NQ swept. ES didn't sweep. So at 8:35 was the sweep. Yeah. So right here, I got filled at 54.50 or 52.24.50. Stop loss is going to be a couple of ticks or one tick, couple of ticks under. You don't want to put it solely right on the break even or like right where the low is because you're just going to get stopped out. I'd suggest like 1 to 4 ticks. And then you can go about it. I usually run like 1 to 2 ticks, but 1 to 4 is still okay. Depends on your risk. I like 2 ticks. And then yeah, that's pretty much it. And then got out at 34.5. Boom. I think this one I had set 1 tick under. Yeah, 2.67 R to R. That's it. 1 to 2 ticks below the one that didn't sweep. And then that's your trade. The moment you hit PT1, so right here was my PT1. My next PT was 10 points. So right here, right? PT1 hit, I trimmed one, moved the stop to break even. We pushed up to 10 points. I was like, I'm just gonna lock that in. 10 points on ES is pretty solid. Would you recommend mini or micros for beginners? It depends on your risk, right? It's very black and white. One point on ES is $50. Per tick is $12.50. Per tick on NQ is $5. $1 on NQ is $20. So it just depends on your level of risk, how comfortable you are. There's all the recommendation is always gonna be what you're comfortable with. When you say absolute gex, do you mean AOI on raw gex? Okay, absolute guys, absolute gex and absolute dgex is what? ABS gex slash dgex equal to highest exposure on call and put side. Meaning what? It's going to be this, like, it's in this case it's 5,200, right? Total exposure. You can do the math if you want to. 0.49, just flip it to a positive, right? And or flip the negative one to a positive, get a total value, and then you can do the same here, right? But absolute is the highest exposure on both calls and puts totaled up. And that is your bias. Bro, I'm so fucked. My sinus is just so fucked right now. Any futures planned for live stream again? I thought about it, but I want to focus on trading first, making sure that I'm still on point because when I left, I was in a bit of a trading rut. Analysis on point, which is good, right? But execution wasn't as good. So I needed to focus on trading. Because if I can't trade well, what's the point, right? That means if the person who utilizes the tools, who's the founder of said tools, can't even utilize and properly win with said tools, who's going to use it? Right. So I had to make sure I was still on point, and luckily I am. So it's gonna take some time. Gio's handling the live streams. It seems like everybody loves it too, which is great. And I don't think it's necessary. Him and I both agreed it's not necessary for 2 live streams in a day. Oh, What if absolute gex are not aligned with raw and de-adjusted? De-adjusted should ultimately prevail, in my humble opinion. So it's not a huge deal if they don't align, but I just think that degex will prevail because it is a more, as Gio said, it's not as naive. It's more refined, essentially. Are you still writing newsletter? No, I'm not. I'm solely focusing on trading right now and doing these market reviews pretty much for everybody, so you guys can all win. You guys take the time to go after hours and test this, right? You don't have to actually take a trade. It's not about taking a trade. It's about making sure your system works, right? So I spent after hours looking at everything, making sure that it worked, being able to spot it really quickly. And I already see this, boom, right? Spotting the SMT is not something that goes really quickly. ES swept it, NQ didn't sweep it. Another one, right? Let's see. Swept, not here. Swept, doesn't matter. Yeah, so this is the only one so far. I can spot it really quickly. So the whole point is to be able to spend the time to learn and spot it quickly. Yeah, just doing my best to like make sure that I'm still helping you guys, right? It's like although I'm focusing on trading, at least I can spend the time after hours to show you guys what we're taking and the trades that we're taking in order to help you guys succeed. Look, there's so many other people out there that are making way more money than me as of right now, just trading, right? Because I'm playing everything very lightly as of right now, just because it's a new system. Although it's a very well working system, I'm not comfortable enough with said system to size in just yet. So keep that in mind. It's like I back tested it, yeah, but I want to make sure the live trades go very well first alongside it. Questions. If there are no more questions, I will end this, and everyone can have a relaxing rest of their evening. No problem, guys. All right. Is Fatty still doing class? Doesn't seem like it. I didn't plan it with them. I supposedly I forgot to shoot a message and I started eating and then almost blew up my kitchen. So that's on me. Are you posting this? Yes, I will post this. This will be uploaded because it's recorded. So anyways, everyone, have a great rest of your evening. Hope this was helpful. And hopefully you guys continue to test this out for yourself. And practice spotting it all so that when it comes time, right, during the intraday hours, you are a prone professional and you will be able to see it very, very quickly. Because if you aren't able to see it quickly, you miss the perfect entry, meaning you have worse R to R. So, as always, thank you for tuning in and keep moving forward. Everyone have a great evening, and I will see you guys at Market Open tomorrow. Bye bye.